Hello dear student. Let's start with the second session of a function. I hope you had done your homework. So in this case, what will be the output? So var1 will have value 20 and in this case var variable will have value 10. So one more question to you is I want to print here var's value as a 20. So what you will do some changes in a program in order to print that. Okay, this is again homework to you. Now let's start with this, that return statement. Every function has implicit return statement as the last instructions in the function body. This implicit return statement returns nothing to its caller. So it is said to be return none, where none means nothing. The syntax of return statement is return and expression, which is again optional to you. Mainly, the return statement is used for two things. First one, return a value to the caller, or second is nothing but to end or exit that function and go back to its caller. Let's see the example. Here, cube function is defined, and here num will get a value 10 and then result equal to cube of num. So we are going to call that function, we'll go inside that function definition and x cube is to be done. So x value is nothing but 10. So 10 cube, nothing but that will be returned. And after returning, it will store to the result variable and that will be printed. So this is simple return statement. Now let's see next example. Here definition of display function is done and here printing of hello. After that you have written word return and printing of word. So how this execute? Let's see. So here hello will be printed, but now we are mentioning return keyword as a exit. So it will go back to its column. And so output ultimately is only hello will be printed. So the note for you is return statement must appear within a function. And second, once you return a value from function, it immediately exits that function. Therefore, any code written after the return statement is never executed. Now let's start with the next, that types of argument. There are four types of argument: required argument, keyword argument, default argument, and variable length argument. So first one is required argument. The required argument are passed to the function should be in a same or correct position order. Also, number of arguments in a function call should be exactly matched with the number of arguments specified in a function definition. So main thing is order should be the same and number of arguments should be the same. So here you can see while definition of display function you have not passed any argument, but while calling you are passing that argument. So there will be a type error. Again, in a definition, you have passed argument, but in a calling, you have not passed any argument. So again, there will be a type error. Now, in this case, in a definition, you have passed one argument, that is string, and here, again, you are calling. While calling that function, you are passing that string. So it will perform properly, and hello will be printed. So that is a required argument. Next is keyword argument. Python allow functions to be called using keyword argument in which the order or positions of the arguments can be changed. Keyword argument when used in function calls helps the function to identify argument by parameter name. So in this case, order should can be different, number of arguments should be the same. So here you can see while definition there is a sequence name, age, salary. But while calling that function, the sequence has been changed. So this will be allowed only if you are using or we are using a variable with a value. Okay, so that's why we are saying keyword argument. So here sequence doesn't matter, but the number of arguments should be same. So age value 20 that will be passed to your second argument. Salary is 15,000 that will pass to third argument, and name Rohan that will pass to your first argument. And likewise it will printed. So name Rohan, age 20, salary 15,000 that will be printed. Now let's see next default argument. Python allow user to specify function argument that can have default values. That is, that function can be called with fewer arguments than it is defined to have. That is, if a function accepts 3 parameters but a function call provides only 2 arguments, then third parameter will be assigned by default value. So you can see order should be the same, but number of arguments can be different. Like in this example, while definition name age salary, that 3 arguments are passed. But in while calling, there are 2 arguments, only 2 arguments. So what will happen with the third argument? So while defining, you have passed some value. So by default, that value will be used. So in this case, name Rohan, age 20 and 15,000 will be printed. So if we are not passing some kind of arguments while calling, it will used by default whichever you have set. Now check for next. Here name, salary, age. Again salary is defined as a 15,000. Okay. And next is while calling you have passed Rohan and 20. So that perfectly works. Rohan name, that name will assign value 20, as age will be assigned and salary 50,000. But in this case there will be error. That error is non-default argument follows default argument. So this is not should be there. That default argument must be followed by non-default arguments. Okay, means at last argument should be only a default argument. There should not be any non-default argument at last. Okay, that is the main concern. Next, variable length argument. In some situations, we don't know the how many arguments you are going to use. In such cases, Python allows programmer to make a function calls with a arbitrary or any number of arguments. When we use variable length argument, then function definition uses asterisk before the parameter name. So let's see the example. In this function, only 2 arguments are passed. Function definition, only 2 arguments are passed, that is a and star b. But while calling, you have passed 4 arguments. That means what will happen? How the values will be passed? Means a will have 1 value and b will have remaining 3 values, that is 2, 3, 4. So c equal to a, that means first value will be assigned, and next is nothing but addition. In a looping, it will perform. And lastly, the c will be printed. So likewise, if you don't know how many number of arguments you are going to use, you can use asterisk and later on some variable name. Okay. So this was variable length argument. Next is lambda function or anonymous function. So like normal function, you can use this lambda function. But the only thing is you will not use def keyword for that. Okay, so they are created using with the help of lambda keyword. So lambda function are throwaway functions. That is, they are just needed where they have been created and can be used anywhere a function is required. So syntax is lambda keyword, then space, arguments, number of arguments, colon, expression. So argument contain a comma separated list of arguments, and expression is an arithmetic expression that uses these arguments. So function can be assigned to variable to give it a name. So for example, let's see this. Here I have written lambda space number of arguments, say num1 and num2 colon expression. So while calling this num1, sum1 and bracket 3 and 5. So 3 will assign to num1, 5 will assign to num2. Both addition will take place and that value will be written as variable sum1 and that will be printed. So this like this the lambda function works. Now let's see another example. Here a function has been defined with the smaller. Now to check whether which is a smaller value. Now you have taken two lambda functions, that is someone, in that addition of two numbers will take place, and subtraction one, that is subtraction of two numbers will take place, and whatever the value is that will be stored in sum1 and sub1 variables. So let's see here. Here, whenever you have called someone bracket tree2, it will go to its definition, perform the output, that will 5 will be generated. In this case, sub1, it will go in its lambda function, it will perform subtraction, that value will be stored in this. So here 1 will be there. So ultimately, small function will have values 5 and 1. So again, as small is a function, it will go to its definition, and after that it will check whether which one number is smaller. So after that it will return that value. So in this case output is nothing but 1. So likewise you can use lambda functions. Let's see another example, like def increment, and inside expression, return expression, you have used lambda function. Okay, so a equal to 100, print of this, and this will be as it is. Then b equal to increment a. So we will go inside a function. Here a's value is nothing but 100, that will be passed as y. Okay, now we go inside the function. We are saying that return, then again a lambda colon x plus 1 and y. So whatever the y's value, consider y's value was 100, right? So here 100 and colon 100 plus 1, that means 101 will return. So, and after that, that 101 will have stored in a b, and then printing of b will take place. So likewise, the lambda function works inside a function, inside a return statement, and on. Again, you can see here def function f comma n. Here f will act as your function name and n is value. So here twice and thrice, you can see here twice lambda function, that means x square, and thrice here x into 3, sorry, x square and x into 2. Okay, so twice function will be called, will go here, x value being nothing but 2, that will be calculated, will go inside that function, and after that it will be printed. So likewise 4 and 6 will be printed. Now again a homework for you, that very simple homework. This program you had to try, and what will be happen, what will be the answer in that case, you had to tell me. Okay, again next homework, that write a program to find the sum of first 10 numbers using lambda function. Very simple. Now next is documentation string. As we have already seen in first video, what is documentation string? It is again an optional thing. I mean, not necessarily every time you will write a documentation string, but it will help to know what exactly that function is doing. So documentation string serves the same purpose as that of comment, as they are designed to explain the code. They are created by putting multi-line string to explain the function. So in this case, you have written in, for example, any function, say function name and parameters, and after that you will mention function docstring in comment. The first statement of function body can optionally be the string literal, which is also known as documentation string or docstring. As the first line, it should be always be a short and concise, highlighting the summary of object's purpose. It should not specify information like object name or type. There are some rules of that. Again, in a triple quotes, we have to use that docstring, that to extend the docstring to multiple lines, and docstring specified can be accessed through with the help of double underscore doc double underscore attribute of the function. Okay, you can see here function has been defined, and in triple quotes we have mentioned some message that the program is just prints the message. It will display hello world and quotes closed, and then print of hello world. And while calling this, we will go inside that, will print the hello world that will be displayed. And next, if you want to display what what is inside your docstring, so you can also use with the help of function dot double underscore dot double underscore. So whatever in a string or in a docstring mentioned, that can be displayed. So you can see here that docstring is also displayed. So this is a documentation string. Now next is good programming practices. While writing a large or complex program, you must take care of some points that will help you to develop readable, effective, and efficient code. The rules are as stated here. Instead of tabs, you can use 4 spaces for indentation. Insert blank lines to separate the functions and classes and statement blocks inside the functions. Third, whenever required, you can use comment to explain the code. Fourth, use documentation string that explains purpose of the function. Use spaces around the operator and after commas. Name of the class should be written as class name like this. Then name of the function should be in lower cases with underscore to separate the words. For example, here get underscore data function. The last one, do not use non-ASCII characters in a function name or any other identifier. So it's, you can read it later on also. Now let's see the recursive function. What is recursive function? A recursive function is defined as a function that call itself to solve smaller version of its task until a final call is made, which does not require a call to itself. A recursive or recursion is used for defining large complex problems in terms of smaller and more easily solvable problems. Okay, so here you can see, as you have know that how to do or how to calculate a factorial of particular number. So this is a normal code. You have mentioned a function, then you have use a fact variable which is initialized as a 1, then you are going to check how many terms of the factorial you have to calculate. So if the factorial num is 1 or 0, it will return 1 ultimately. Else in other case you have to go on multiply that things and you will return that fact. Okay, so depends on user what it will print. For example, 3 is printed, so in this case it will go in a else case, and accordingly up to 3 that will multiplication will takes place and will return the value. But what if we, so you can see the code, but what we can do for to minimize the code, so you can use recursive function. So in that case you can see in the else part there are 3 lines of code, and here we are going to simply see return num into fact, that we are going to call that function again, and num minus 1. So for example, if the value is 3, so 3 into fact of 3 minus 1, 3 minus 1 is nothing but 2. So in a fact 2, so whenever we are detecting, we will go inside again a function. Here num's value is 2, so that will be go again here, go and checking, we will go in else case. So again here was 3 into updated num value is 2, so 2 multiply by again 2 minus 1, so again a fact function is being called, we will go inside this fact function, and so recursively it will go on checking, and the whatever the value is calculated that will be printed. Okay, so again a homework for you, you have to use a recursive function and print the Fibonacci series. Okay, that will be, so I hope up till now you got all the concept Very soon I will upload the next video. Up till now, study all whatever two videos I have explained, and I will upload one assignment for you that you have to submit. Okay, any queries you can ask. Thank you and take care.